Hi guys, I'm still in my jammies, but I'm getting ready to go to Walmart, so you can all go with me if you like. I guess I gotta work on this old mess. I had a lot of people ask about my brush. This is from Lange. I love Lange. I've got a lot of their curling irons and different things, but my problem is I don't really know how to use them. I buy and I buy. Let me show you. I've got this brush, and I think it probably would work good, but I'm afraid it's going to pull my hair out. That's Lange. I really don't have anybody that can show me how to do these. I watch, can't think of her name. She's really sweet. She lives in San Juan. And then I got see, I've got this one. This is Lange. It's for big hair, and I did have long hair, so I needed to have it. And the air blows out when you wash your hair. The air blows out, and you can just do things with it. I don't know, maybe something would work now. It would probably be loud. Do you want loud? And the thing is, I ended up giving these to my daughter, and then she bought her own stuff and gave them back. It might do something. Since I have, I'll tell you what I put in my hair. I shampoo with Paul Mitchell, and then this is Paul Mitchell Extra Body Sculpting. So that's in my hair, so maybe that'll help it. I don't really do anything fancy to my hair. Can you hear me? See, it's not really doing anything. I just don't know. I'm from the old days, and I do the old day stuff. Now I have Lange glass hair, and they said to spray this on before you use all those products. So maybe that's what I'll do. I washed that stuff out the other day, and I put in the Wow. I think it's going to work, but I think I used too much. And that's the story of my life. Too much. So I've used the Lange glass, and what I'm going to do is brush it into my hair. Yeah, it's just a little bit damp. Gotta be careful of my stitches over here. Okay, now maybe this will do something. But this is for the big hair, so I don't know. Look first. I don't put these on my hair all here. See, I feel like it's pulling my hair out. It's not really doing anything. You see, I don't really know how to work it. So I'm going to put that one back. And it's really nice. Maybe somebody will come along that wants it. I really don't need it. So I've got that brush, and I've got the big airbrush. got the smaller version. I like the pink box. See, and this one's just smaller. And maybe that's what I need, is the smaller. I don't know. I just have too many things and not enough sense. I have this, and they've been pushing this a lot. This looks more like what I could use. I gave this to my daughter and she gave it back too. And this has got like a little brush. I guess it has to heat up. But this is just a flat iron, and then it's got the air that blows through. It's heating up. Not sure how that works, but yeah, I was born in Detroit and lived with my parents my whole life, my whole childhood, and I wasn't one of those kids that wanted to get out of the house. I didn't get along that well with my parents, but I knew I had it pretty good. That we had a nice home, and I had a job, and I knew that they weren't going to let anything bad happen to me. I was kind of scared. I had been kidnapped when I was 7. I was in Detroit, and my neighbors were all boys, and my 2 brothers and I walked to Rouge Park. And see, this isn't even heating up. Oh no. I'm probably going to just put this stuff away and go with what I know. Hang on 1 second. Trusty old curling iron, that's what I'm going to use. So anyway, I'll go on with my story. So my brother, I was the only girl in the neighborhood. And my brothers had a lot of friends, so there were probably about 7 or 8 of us went to Rouge Park one day. And it was about a mile away, but in those days, your parents just let you go. This is Detroit. We knew how to cross big streets. When I was 5, I crossed West Chicago, which is a 2-lane, it's probably 4-lane highway, to get to school all by myself. And they just taught you how to go to the middle and watch both ways, and then you go across the rest of the way. And nobody thought anything of it. I was 5. Anyway, so we all went out to Rouge Park that day, and they have a pool there. It used to be like 50 cents to swim, which was better than standing under the fire hydrants, because they used to come around, the firemen would come around and empty the fire hydrants like on a weekly basis, and all the kids would go and play under the fire hydrant. And because we didn't have a lot of pools, and we were real far from the Detroit River, and nobody swims in the Detroit. If somebody's in the Detroit River, they're drowning. So anyway, when we got to Rouge Park, this young guy, now you got to remember, I'm 7. I have a brother that's 5, a brother that's 8. He's in charge of us. This is my lunch comb. And then the neighbors, there were a couple teenage neighbors, and then some other kids that were our age, but we just were walking. It was just something to do in the summer. And this guy came up to us, and I think he was like maybe around 18. I don't remember what he looks like. I'm 80, and that's a long time ago. But I do remember that he was a nice-looking young guy, and he told us that he was wanting to cook a barbecue, and he needed some firewood, and if we would be so kind as to help him find firewood, that he'd give us each a dime. Now, a dime was a lot of money. The ice cream man came around, the good humor man, and his things were a nickel and a dime. Some were a nickel, like a push-up, and if you got something with actual ice cream in it, was a dime. But that was a lot of money. So we were excited. So we all said, yeah, we would help him. And he said that we had to go off in pairs. So he paired everybody up. He chose what team. And he said to me, you're coming with me. Well, I thought that was really neat. I was going with the big guy. So we walked and we walked and we got to the Rouge River. And it's not real deep, but it flows pretty fast. And there were boulders going across to the island. And he said, well, we're going to have to go across those boulders. And I said, well, I don't know how to do that. He said, well, I'll help you. So he led the way and took my hand and helped me get across there. When we got across, we started walking around, and we weren't picking up any sticks. And after a little bit, he said, you want to sit down and rest? And I said, yeah. And I'm still kind of enamored that this older kid is wanting to play with me, because nobody ever played with me. I didn't have any girls. The guys just let me hang around. And we played Yankees and Confederates. I had to be the Confederate. It's funny now that I live in Alabama. Or we played Cowboys and Indians. I had to be the Indian. And I married my first husband was half Cherokee Indian, so I guess my kids are Indians. Anyway, so we sat down, and he was talking. I can't remember much about it. I was just a kid. But he said, have you ever played owl? And I said, no. He said, do you like owls? I said, I don't know. So he had a little first aid pack. And he said, well, this is how we play owl. He said, I'm going to put some tape over your mouth, and we'll see how you talk. But he said, first, let's just sit up next to this tree. So we put me up. I backed up to a big tree, and he took my hands and he tied them behind the tree. Well, I was getting scared. I was only 7, but I wasn't feeling comfortable. And he said, well, this is just going to take a minute. We're just going to see if you like it. And if you don't like it, all you got to do is go, and I'll let you out. So he, I just don't have much hair. Most of this hair fell out when I had my, because I take Ozempic, an Ozempic shot every week. I had, I was very heavy, plus I'm diabetic, and they decided that Ozempic would be a good thing for me, and it has worked. I've lost all that weight, but I gave up my hair, and I didn't ever have gray hair, but my hair was cute. Now it's not. Anyway, getting back to my story. Ow, just burned my ear a little bit. I think I'm going the wrong way. I'm trying to do it in the mirror. He put the tape over my mouth, and my hands were behind my back, and he said, now try to talk. Well, when I talked, it went, He said, now doesn't that sound like an owl? And I said, yeah, I guess. Well, I said, And so he said, well, when you're ready to go, just shake your head and tell me you're ready to go. And so I did it right away. Well, he proceeded to undo my suspenders. I had little pants that came up to my chest. I had suspenders and a little shirt. He undid my suspenders, and next thing I knew, he was messing around in my underwear. And he was doing some weird things. And I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was totally, totally wrong. And I was very scared. and I was crying. Well, luckily for me, all of a sudden we heard a lot of noise, and we figured out that there were other people on the island, and they were getting close, and I guess he got scared, and what he did was he untied my hands and he ran. Well, I was crying, and I got up as best I could. I got the tape off my mouth, and I started crying and screaming, and I ran to the edge of the water. I still hadn't seen the people, but I could hear them walking through the trees. And I started screaming and saying that a man had touched me and tied me up. They went and got some police. I yelled the whole thing across to them. They found my brothers, and they were all on the other side. Even the police didn't want to come across that river. They found a couple teenage girls that came across and got me. And so I was very, very lucky. I never did know who was walking through the trees, but I'm sure they saved my life. While I was with that man, I guess I told him my name and address and telephone number. You know how kids are. About 2 weeks later, it was on a weekend because my dad was home. I went running down the driveway to go play, and there was that man, kid, whatever he was, in a car parked in front of my house. And I saw him, and I turned around and ran in, and I screamed, and I told my dad, I said, that man's here. And he ran out. Ooh, he was going to do some damage. The guy sped off. He was gone down the street. My dad couldn't see, but he instructed me that if I ever saw him again, to get as much of a license plate number as I could. So after that, I was just always scared of people. I had people ask me to go out in high school, but I never dated. I didn't date until I got out of school. Well, I did have one date. It was with a guy that my dad worked with, his father at General Motors in Syracuse. And he took me to the movies. His dad had a Corvette Stingray, and my dad had a Corvette Stingray. So we had that in common. That's about all. And he was nice, but I just didn't have any self-confidence. I knew I was homely. He asked me to the prom, but I thought that somebody probably bet him $5 and that he wouldn't ask me, so I told him no. And some of the girls would go to the prom alone, but my mother told me that I had a choice. If I wanted to go to the prom, she'd buy me a prom dress, or she would buy me a class ring. I chose the class ring. I didn't ever date really until I was working at the Syracuse Herald Journal. I was 18, and I worked in accounts receivable, and I dated I called him a cub reporter because we were big on Superman. He didn't like that, but he was a reporter, and actually he reported on sports and stuff. And in Syracuse, they have the horse sulkies. That's where the horse pulls a little tiny two-wheeled little seat, and it's horse races. And so we used to go to those. I wasn't old enough to bet, but he was. So I would pick horses, and he would go bet them for me. We'd go with other people sometimes. Now I'm going to try to spray this because this is not looking good, but I think I can fix it. I'm not using wow. I'm using Tresemme Hold. Now this is how I usually do it. Then I go in here and I kind of pick it. So that's a couple stories of mine. Anyway, I didn't date much, and then I kind of was engaged to that Freddie from the newspaper, and my parents told me that they were moving back to Michigan again. Good old Michigan. I love Michigan, but I was in love and I wasn't going to leave Michigan. I mean, leave New York. Central New York's very beautiful. It's not New York City, it's Syracuse, and very, very nice town. Oops. I tripped on my scale. All right, now I can pay a little more attention and put on some makeup. I've got really crusty lips, so I'm going to put on a little Burt's Bees. That kind of feels better. I don't know why. I guess I've been chewing on them or something. Well, I'm going to think what I'm going to be doing. Let's put a little eyebrows on. So anyway, my friend's mother gave me a wedding shower, sort of. Just friends went. My mother didn't go. And I had it all planned. We were going to get married, and I was going to find an apartment. There was a room to rent across the street, so it was big old houses in the old days. In the old days, this is like 1964. And I was 18, going on 19. So, told my parents I wasn't going. Well, what my dad said is, you don't have to go, you can stay here. But your car's in my name. I own your clothes. I own your stereo. I own your bed. So you can stay here by yourself, but you're not getting anything. And I was kind of scared. So I cried a lot, and my boyfriend assured me he was going to come and visit me. I went home to Detroit. Let's see what this back looks like. I hope it didn't look like the other day. Yeah, that's better. I can do hair, but I just don't have hair to do. That's my problem. I can do hair if I have hair. All right, let me give it a little more spray. I don't really like my hair behind my ears. I really like fluffy hair, but all this hair in here has come out. It's coming back. That's why it's all sticking. And my hairdresser said that it's coming back very well, but it just takes a while. So. All right. So, came back to Michigan, and my dad, we moved there on Friday. We flew. The moving van took everything, and my dad was already there, and this is voluminizer. This is Mally. I use different stuff. I'm going to try this Mally, see how she works. My poor eyelashes. These lights are not good. That It's a little attractive there. Oh, Karen Jane. Oh, Karen Jane. See, I am very homely, but I can work on it and get myself to looking decent. All right. And this stuff does work, but the other day I didn't have any powder on it because I get those eyebrows too dark. There. And I can't wait till I can do something over here, but I'm afraid to put anything on there. I hope that it's going to be cleared up when I go on that cruise next week. We leave Friday. I've got so many boxes of things, I don't know. All right. And I have some eyeliner, if I could find it. I hate to have it sitting there waiting for me. It's eyebrow. No idea what that is. I don't know. I need some colors. So this is Lips by Hope Philosophy, and it's some more for cracked lips, but it has color. I'm going to Walmart. I don't need to get all hoochie coochie. So anyway, I was in Detroit, and I went to get a job. My dad said I had to get a job on Monday. So I got a job at Kresge's. And when I came home, my dad said, did you get a job? And I said, yes, I got a job at Kresge's. And he said, no, you're not going to work at Kresge's. He said, I've got an interview for you at General Motors. He said, I told you I couldn't get you in there till you had proven yourself, but I had worked for a year on a job that I got on my own in Syracuse at the newspaper. So I went in the next day to they have a hospital on the grounds. It's Turnstead. It's a General Motors. They're on Van Dyke, and they've got a hospital. They've got everything, but it was brand new when I was there. All Chevrolet and Fisher Body, and they had skating rinks. So we, ice skating. We skate in the wintertime. So I went there and I took a test, and then they took me to the hospital and gave me a physical. The next thing I knew, I had a job at General Motors. So I was excited, and I let my boyfriend know, and he came to visit me. And but we'd been away from each other for a couple months, and it wasn't the same. And then the next week, his best friend came and visited me, and I guess he thought we were going to get it on, but I was a good girl, and we didn't get anything on. And his breath smelled really bad. I dated two different people that I thought I would really like them, but their breath was like garlic. And I didn't know how to tell people. What do? Do you just say, pew, go brush your teeth? And so he took me to the drive-in, and he wasn't making any bad moves or anything, but he was trying to kiss me, and I wanted to kiss him, but I couldn't do it. So anyway, he left, went all the way back to Syracuse, and I never saw him again. So then I dated a couple people at work. I dated one guy that was really, really handsome and tall and big, and he was a football player. He was an accountant, and I worked in accounting. I was an auditor, and but I was a little bit scared of him. And he took me out one night, and I'm not a drinker, and he got me drunk on the little foo-foo drinks, and I started telling him I didn't feel good. So he put me in the car and got on the expressway and was driving me home. And he said, if you feel like you're going to get sick, tell me, because my car is brand new. And I said, I'm going to get sick. He couldn't pull over on that expressway fast enough. I threw up all over inside his car, all over outside of his car. He took me to my house, And I just opened the door and I leaned out and I puked on my dad's driveway. I couldn't even get up. He finally picked me up and started carrying me into my parents' house, and I started to cry because I thought he was planning on doing something. And he said, "I'm not going to do anything, I'm just taking you in your house." He set me on my toilet. Well, the seat was down and everything, and he left. A couple days later at work, he said, "I had big plans for you, but you messed it up." So I was glad I got drunk because I wasn't ready for any of that stuff. I was 19 going on 6. I've always been a little bit slow. So anyway, my best friend at work, I'm not getting much done here, I'm going to have to do it. My best friend at work, she was dating a guy that was really nice, lived in Detroit, and he asked her if she had any friends kind of like her, because he thought that he might like to double date with his best friend. I can't talk and work too. I know you think that's silly, but I don't do good with a pencil, so I just kind of make it more like a little bit of shadow. And I do have all kinds of makeup, but whoops. But I got 80-year-old hands. They don't know how to do things. 32 minutes? I'm going to have to get off this thing. I haven't even gotten dressed. But I'll finish my story. So, she said yes, she had a friend that would probably enjoy going out with us. So, I don't know why I'm looking like this. Maybe I need to have there. Anyway, so they were coming over to pick me up on a Saturday night. In the meantime, I had a big fight with my father and my mother, and they went out, and I was crying, and I went to the store and I bought myself a steak. I didn't know how to cook, but I brought it home and I fried it. You don't fry steaks, but not unless you have a special fryer. So I ate that steak, and she called me up and said they were on their way, and I said, "I'm not going. I had a bad day. I've been crying. My eyes are swelled up." She said, "You have to go." She said, "We're on our way." So I went and got dressed real quick. He picked me up in a black Thunderbird convertible, and it was rather new. He had bought it from a priest, and they sat in the back seat, and we went downtown to the Rooster Tail in Detroit and had a little picnic. The only thing I didn't like about him is he was kind of like a smart aleck a little bit, and he bought me beer, and I mean, I don't even like mixed drinks, but I sure don't like beer. I just wanted a Coke, but I guess I had to have beer. And we were in the car, and he said something, but the top was down, I couldn't hear. And I just smiled at him, and he said, "Don't smile at me. Get me my damn lighter." It's in the glove compartment. So that was how I got to know him. That was Labor Day weekend, and December 23rd we were married. And that's the end of this tape. And I can get more information to you if you want to hear it about my crazy life. But I only knew him 4 months, and that's the father of my 3 children. I'm going to Walmart. I don't know what you're going to do, but I'll see you later. Love you all. This is just so fun. I hope I'm interesting for you. Bye-bye.